What prompted you to get into the race at this time?
Oh, this is a moment when the state needs leadership and experience, and I see the concerns of Ohioans for health care and education, for jobs, do something about our businesses. We're losing population now. We need to have a dynamic approach to not just bring people back, but for the people who are here, to make sure they know they've got someone who's on their side, someone who can't be bought, someone who is willing to fight for people and to stand up and speak out. That's me, I'm ready.
Looking at the field, did you feel that that was not being met?
Well, I think that I bring something unique to the field, battle-tested, someone who has a record of standing up, not being afraid to challenge the status quo, not being, and being ready to say, let's build Ohio, let's create jobs, let's build bridges and water systems and sewer systems and hospitals and new ports, and I know what can be done. I mean, have this experience where some people would say, well, that's impossible, you can't save that light system, you can't save that hospital, you forget the steel mill, it's already gone. And I've always seen you bring people together and you can create possibilities that others would say, nah, it never happened.
You left Congress in 2012. What have you been up to the past 5 years?
Well, you remember how I left. I mean, our district was chopped up into 4 pieces, so there's no place left for me to go, essentially. I have been a news contributor at Fox. I've been doing a lot of writing. I finally, John, finished a book that I have been working on seemingly forever, and it's the story of that young mayor from many years ago who took a stand on behalf of the people and who went through hell and high water but came back and was proven right in the decision that I made. And it's a story about our town, about the people, and a story about perseverance and how life can go like that, it can go like that. The question is one of spirit, of tenacity, of perseverance. Everybody has their ups and downs. I certainly have had my share, but that brings a wisdom that informs you what people go through every day. And so my experience of having served at so many different levels and not really wanting anything for myself puts me in a great position to be able to be of service to the people of Ohio.
Where's been home for you the past 5 years?
Oh, well, look, I mean, Cleveland's always my home, but I of course, have been in Washington. When you're a member of Congress, you have to have a place in Washington, a place in Cleveland. I established a business out of Washington, did some work there, always back home, but I've been traveling the world, essentially. I've been, all over the world, speaking, writing, consulting. Life's been good, and it's still good. And yet, for me, my life's always been about service. If you want to lead, you have to first serve. So I've had the chance to not just explore the world and see more of it, but also just take time to smell the roses. Because the one thing about public life, the demands of it, it's go, go, go. You sometimes think that's the only thing there is. It's a whole world out there. And it's important to be in touch with that because you keep things in perspective. You don't think that, well, everything's a life and death matter. It's not. You kind of chill out about life.
Most of your career has been legislative. The executive was as mayor of Cleveland, and well documented. You've documented it now in the book. That's going to be an issue that's brought up, and that's something that clearly you stand behind what you did in those 2 years.
Well, let me tell you, the people of Cleveland were the ultimate judge of that, because they brought me back 15 years after I was mayor to be a state senator and then elected me to Congress 8 successive times. They're the ones who are the judge of my career, because what they saw is that I made a decision that saved the city hundreds of millions of dollars on electric bills for residents, businesses, and for the taxpayers of Cleveland. That wasn't an easy moment for me. It wasn't an easy moment for our community. But what people learned about me is that I can't be bought. I can't be intimidated. I can't be pressured in the way other politicians will run for the hills the minute somebody says, this is what you have to do. No, I'm here for the people of this community, and people know that, and of this state, and many people know that. And I expect that as this campaign moves forward, that people will realize that I offer something that maybe no one else has that kind of experience and the willingness to take a stand.
President Trump came into the state last year, for better or for worse, hit a chord with people. He said what people were thinking. Do you see any comparisons between yourself and President Trump?
Well, yeah, I'm always a political outsider in that way. I think that among all Democrats, I'm probably the one person who has the ability to reach out to those who supported President Trump and to say, look, there's ways to bring people together. My political service has never been about left, right, Democrat, Republican. I work with people on both sides of the aisle. I think people want that. They want someone who is not going to be a tool. They want someone who can be his or her own person. And I'm certainly, I know that I fit that bill. So I believe that, that I'll have the ability to attract those individuals who otherwise, wouldn't want to vote for a Democrat. But to say, yeah, Kucinich, I could go with him.
Clearly, you're going to inherit, if you become governor, most likely a Republican legislature, House and Senate, and that you'll have to work with.
Oh yeah. Well, you could check with people in Washington who I served with, Republicans, and what they'll tell you is, look, I'm easy to get along with. I look for opportunities to be able to build coalitions and build bridges. That's what I specialize in. And to me, I don't care if someone's a Democrat or Republican. We're all Americans. We're all Ohioans. We should be thinking about what's best for our country, what's best for our state, our cities. That's the approach I take. To me, I'll govern from inclusivity, not from exclusivity. It's not about left, right. It's not about Democrat, Republican. It's about, what's best for people. And that's the approach I've always taken.
I always respected the relationship you had, especially with Steve LaTourette and the work that you guys did together.
Well, I will tell you, on this day, when I go forward, I think of Steve. He was my best friend in Congress. We worked together to save jobs in this area. We saved thousands of federal jobs working together. Steve as LaTourette as a Republican, myself as a Democrat. Steve and I worked together to save the steel mill. We worked together to reroute railroad traffic out of so that people in the West Shore would not feel this 48 trains a day. Steve was a great partner, and more than that, he was a great friend. So, I miss him. I wish he was here today to be part of this moment, because no matter what our politics, we were always there for each other.
Is it disheartening as a former member of Congress to see the moderates like that leaving?
Well, I'll tell you, the politics of the country are polarized. And what do you do about it, though? I think the way to do it is you don't polarize. No one has ever heard me utter a word that would separate people from each other. A governor must be a unifying force. You have to find ways of bringing people together to put together coalitions of individuals of diverse backgrounds, diverse opinions. It's a big state. There's many different points of view. And to do it in a way that that is charitable and direct and optimistic, and that shows people their commonalities. The biggest problem with our politics is that somehow we think that because we're Democrats and someone else a Republican, that we're not on the same planet, and that's wrong. And so I've learned through many years how to build the bridges. And we're going to be building bridges.